There are moments in life when something appears before us with tremendous force. A person, an image, a fantasy, a possibility. And in that moment it can feel as if the whole world gathers around that one appearance and says, "This is it. This is what you were missing. This is what finally will complete you." But very often that is not truth. It's longing becoming misplaced. Recently I had a dream that showed me this very clearly. In the dream there was a beautiful feminine presence. She was lovely, warm, deeply appealing, and I had become attached. Then at a certain point I began inwardly to pull back, as if part of me could already feel the danger in it. And that was when the message came, "Oh no, I'm never going to leave you." That line stayed with me, because it didn't feel like love. It felt like a trap closing. Later in the dream I was walking with her. She was still attractive, still kind in appearance, but there was something not quite true there, something artificial, something hidden. As though behind the pleasant surface there was a quiet deception. And even sensing that, there was still a pull to go along with it. That is what struck me the most. Not that I could see, but that some part of me still wanted to cooperate with the illusion. I think that's how many inner traps work. They don't always come to us as something ugly or obviously destructive. They often come clothed in beauty, promise, tenderness, meaning. They offer not just pleasure but completion, not just affection but escape from exile, not just intimacy but the feeling that finally something in us will be at rest. And this is where discernment becomes vital. Because what we seek in the image is not in the image. The longing itself may be real, but its direction is often mistaken. Now I should add something important. The evening before the dream, I was drawn to a portrait I've always loved, Renoir's The Umbrellas. I saved the woman's face from that painting as my screensaver last night. And I looked at her. What moved me was not merely physical beauty. There seemed to be something timeless in the face, a kind of ancient tenderness, an understanding, almost as though something older than time itself was shining through the image while appearing as a young, beautiful woman. This is subtle. The teaching here is not beauty is false. It's not woman is deception. And it's not relationship is a mistake. No. The correction is finer than that. Sometimes something genuine shines through form, a tenderness, a grace, a depth, a reminder of what is beyond personality. But the mind is quick to make a mistake. It takes what shines through the image and attaches it to the image itself. It tries to pin the timeless to a face, to a body, to a story, to a dream. And then longing becomes bondage. That, I think, was the correction in the dream. Not a rejection of beauty, but a warning against misplacement. Because the form is not the source. The image may carry something, it may point, it may reveal, but it's not the thing itself. And this matters far beyond romance. Human beings do this with everything, with relationships, with success, with recognition, with spiritual identity, with admiration, with the future. We feel a deep movement in ourselves towards wholeness, peace, home, truth, love. And instead of tracing that movement back to its source, we attach it to something passing in the world. Then we suffer. Because what arrives will depart, and what appears will change. What can be lost cannot be our home. That is not pessimism, that is clarity. It does not mean there is no beauty in life. It does not mean that there is no value in love. It does not mean relationship cannot be part of the path. It simply means do not build your altar there. Do not ask the changing to become unchanging. Do not ask appearance to grant what only the real can give. The greatest seductions are rarely crude. They are refined. They speak the language of the heart. They dress themselves in beauty. They borrow the atmosphere of the sacred. But the test is simple. Does this lead me deeper into freedom? Or does this bind my peace to what can pass away? That is the question. Not, is it beautiful? Not, is it intense? Not, does it make me feel alive? But does it free me, or does it capture me? Because there is a kind of longing that purifies, and there is a kind of longing that imprisons. One returns us to the source, the other keeps us circling in dreams. And maybe maturity is learning the difference. To let beauty be beautiful without demanding that it save us. To let love be a human expression without turning it into an idol. To let symbols remain symbols without mistaking them for substance. To let life move without placing eternity in its hands. For me, one line keeps returning, and perhaps it says the whole thing. Only that which is prior to appearance neither arrives nor departs. That is the water that does not run dry. Everything else may have its place. Everything else may teach. Everything else may even be honoured. But only the real can bear the weight of ultimate longing. So the task is not to harden, not to become cold, not to fear beauty, not to run from life. The task is to see clearly. To notice when the mind begins asking form to do what form cannot do. To notice when longing is pure and when it has become misplaced. To notice when beauty is opening the heart and when attachment is trying to close a chain around it. And perhaps to remember, what I seek is not in the image. What I love in the form is the light behind it. The image is not the source. The dream is not the drink. So if something comes, let it come. If something goes, let it go. But do not hand your soul over to what time can take. Freedom begins there, not in suppression, not in indulgence, but in clear seeing. And clear seeing is mercy. If this speaks to something you've seen in your own life, let me know in the comments. And if you're walking the path of freedom through strength, clarity and daily discipline, stay with the channel.